was created by the Hoover Dam. There's a hydroelectric dam on that river that created the Lake of the Ozarks. So it's pretty cool. And I got intrigued by that because I've always been intrigued by, okay, dams, hydroelectric power, what did they do? What is it, how does it generate? Well, I know how it generates, but how much does it generate? All of those things are intriguing to me. Did you know there was, so here's me playing Bob. Did you know there was a hydroelectric power plant at the Quabbin Reservoir?
Not at Quabbin. I didn't think there was one at the Quabbin.
There is one at the Quabbin.
Is it on the spillway?
No, it's near the spillway. I should say it's not really a hydroelectric plant as much as it is a single hydroelectric turbine and one generator. But when they built the thing, it was almost an afterthought. And I ran across this by accident, and I was fortunate enough to be there when it was actually in operation. They run it so many hours a day because it just puts power into the power grid, just like somebody's. Like a wind turbine would, or solar panels would. So I got a kick out of this. It's a little brick building, just like any dam built in the middle of the last century always has a brick building somewhere. That's what this was. Yes. He's the curator of the whole property, right? So the door was open. I drove up to this thing. The door was open, and I can hear the whirring inside. And the guy who runs it every day was there, and we had a great conversation about the history of the Quabbin. Of course, that's a water supply for Boston. I'm hearing noises, Peter.
I'm checking because somebody said there's no sound on Channel 15.
Oh, okay. Well, turn down your mic. So they run this power plant a few hours every day. It's because they have to let so much water down the river. Even when the Quabbin's not full, they're required to pass so much water down that river. And that's part of the conservation of the water conservation
I think it's a Swift River watershed, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So... the Quabbin hasn't been filled in a long time. I haven't been up there in a while. It might be over the spillway again because of the past wet season. They still allow fishing. You can no power boats, but you can put rowboats and things like that. You can go fishing up there. Yeah, there's a couple of access points, but it's just one turbine. It's not real big, but it's just a generator above, in the middle of this brick building. And the guy had a great time describing what it does. I don't remember the amount of power it puts out, but he described, this is my retirement job. I come down here, run the generator for a little while every day, and then go home. So it's kind of cool. One of the feuding factions.
And it was out there in Missouri, et cetera, so I've always thought she had a criminal bent, so I'm glad to know that her genes go way back there to the Hatfields.
Yeah, some criminals do wear jeans, yeah.
You will have to because you went to the studio. I'm wearing jeans because I thought, I got up this morning and I said, I'm going to dress like I normally do. But then I started to think, I need to give a boost. My spirit's been down for the last week since I last saw you. I've had a really dull, depressing.
Dressing up can help that. Yeah, you're a psychologist. You know that. If you get up and if you're starting to feel down, and it's because you've been in your pajamas all week long, get dressed up for a day.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Put a suit and tie on. Go out somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I am wearing my I'll get closer. I
No, Bob, don't get closer.
remember that Rooster Cogburn character in
Yeah.
what was Dead-Eye Dick or something? What was his name?
Which one? You mean Rooster Cogburn or one of the bad guys?
James Coburn.
James Coburn.
In that.
Yeah.
See, this is all not shaped.
It's okay. You're getting good looking like me.
I don't know. I keep looking at it and it's at that point.
You know, if you start now, you can be Santa Claus.
Yes. No. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to be Santa Claus. I am hanging up my good cheer outfit.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no. I will always be of good cheer, but I am not going to have kids. You know, I was the Santa at G Fox.
Oh, in Hartford.
I think we talked about it at the Christmas show once. Yeah.
You were Santa's helper.
No. I was Santa's helper. Yeah, I was Santa's helper. And Santa's helpers at G Fox there were three of us, and there was even a woman. And I've told this story, but the guy who Santa's helper who came to me before my shift, all right, to tell me that he had enjoyed going over to the watch department and just taking a watch. And I said, "Did you pay for it?" He said, "No, I just took it. I'm in my Santa outfit."
Someone
it broke,
asked for one.
Yeah, it broke the code. It broke the code of being a Santa's helper. And I reported him to the North Pole, and he was fired that day for just not doing anything. It's sort of like
So even if you're Santa, you can't take a watch.
No, you can't. You have to be everybody's wonderful uncle. If that's would that be? That's not. It doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right either. No, you've got to be you've got to be fully above boards. You've got to be in the.
In order to be Santa Claus's helper, you have to really be like Santa Claus, right?
You have to be completely above boards. If you want to do an analogy and you want to compare that to someone, it would be Flanders in The Simpsons. You have to be perfect. Flanders is perfect.
You can't. You're not allowed
To an annoying fault. Yeah.
You can't drink. You can't do anything but sweat. That's the only thing you can do. At any rate, I still
Now, G Fox, the last time I was in G Fox, it had long closed, but I was in the building. They had, goes back many years ago. I think my son was probably 3 or 4 years old. And they had turned for a few years the G Fox building into a winter Christmas wonderland, a holiday wonderland. And it was a fundraiser. No, the store was not open. The G Fox had long closed. And this would have been back in the mid-'80s, I think. And
because I was gone, I would have known it.
right. So what they did is some organization, wanted it to be a fundraiser, kind of like a big version of what we do with the holiday house tours. They turned every floor into a theme in there for like 6 floors. That was a big building. I think there were like 12 floors or 11 floors in the building. And they fired up the escalators, and I'm sure that took a little bit of work. But you could go in there, and like the first floor would be like a toyland. Second floor would be all Christmas trees, like. The people would decorate trees, and they would be wonderful. The next floor would be all trains. I was in heaven. I get up there. It's everybody brought their train rigs in, and I mean,
Wow.
elaborate as all get
You
out.
paid to get into the building.
Oh yeah,
How it works.
you paid something to get in because it was a fundraiser, but it was worth it and then some. And the one that got me the best was a Dickens, a whole floor of old England in the time of Dickens, and it was actually snowing. They had some kind of snow coming
Oh
down.
my God!
It was
Who
just
must
so
have done
well
that? I mean, like this had to be an event planner outfit that did this.
Oh, I'm sure.
It wasn't like a small band of married people like Westville on weekends.
No, imagines an outfit that would bring in. I'm sure there were 100 people that made this happen.
Yeah,
it was that many volunteers and organizers.
I was thinking how awful this has been for event planners. Anybody that works to plan events, the virus has really sort of put a kibosh on planning, on what do we do in the future, or questions about that,
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we take a break, and on the other side of the break, we'll talk about events that were planned, and then perhaps what might be planned, later on this summer or this fall.
Great. Hey, do you know the name Blossom Dearie?
No.
Does that name ring a bell?
Not even close. Doesn't even ring a chime.
Blossom Dearie, it's her birthday today, or was her birthday. She was born in 1924. She died in 2004. She had one of the sweetest, strangest jazz stylings of any jazz singer. And sort of like the Astrid Gilberto of jazz. In other words, you sort of think that she doesn't have a singing voice, and yet she does. And she was one of those lounge players, like in New York City at a hotel, and she plays the piano, etc., etc. She became very, very famous to us who know jazz aficionados and snobs like me. And so I'm going to play for you one of her songs. She did a lot of songs that she did Bernie My Attorney is the name of the song. That's where I get Brad, my insurance lab, from, Bernie My Attorney. But she did a lot of interesting songs, and songs that you don't know. This one I thought was a really perfect one for an April morning. This is a fine spring morning, even though the sun isn't out. This is a fine spring morning. This is Blossom Dearie, Dearie, my dear. Here she is.
This is a fine spring morning. It's everywhere for us to share. Just look what a fine spring morning can do. I've got a brand new feeling. When I think twice, it's awful nice. I hope everybody's feeling it too. Bees are getting busier, birds are getting dizzier. Little girls and boys are getting quizzier. Songs are getting singier. Butterflies are wingier, and sure as shooting, spring is getting springier. So on this fine spring morning, my heart's resigned, made up my mind to spend every fine spring morning with you. Say, I've seen a lot of mornings, the sunshine glows, a rooster crows, but this is my first spring morning in love. So if this young girl's fancy gets out of hand, please understand, it's just that this young girl's fancy is love. Kids are getting cozier, neighbors getting nosier. Bulls are getting more and more bulldozier. Bums are getting bummier, chums are getting chummier, and yummy-looking girls are getting yummier. Some of these fine spring mornings, we're gonna be a family and spend every fine spring morning in love.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is April 28th. 2020 and counting. My name is Bob Plass. I'm here with Trusty, Dusty, Musty, Crusty, Lusty, and well-modulated sidekick, Jay Pagluka, and the April's Aristocat of the Airways. And that's the kitten of the keys, meow.
So
Peter Coles.
And so I'm hearing that, or I'm understanding that, Bob, you're not being heard on Channel 15. You are out on the regular air, but it's sounding a little bit odd, and you sound a little hollow. But I don't think that's you in this case. We're trying to figure out. So for
on
those
Channel
of you
15.
for those of you watching on Channel 15 that can read lips, oh wait, you can hear me, so it's okay. We apologize for.
They can't hear him on Channel 15?
Where did you say?
No, the radio.
Oh,
that's
they
a
can't hear him
different
on
feed.
the radio.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, that's
You
a
can't
different
hear
feed.
me on Channel 15?
Okay, so if you're not hearing us, in that case, if you're watching on Channel 15, you can. Well, never mind.
What if I went, everybody, to the phone, my phone?
Can you feed them from the phone, Pete? A little bit easier into the system. Try that. Yeah, give a quick phone
Jay?
call, Bob. Yes.
Jay, that's going to make things more complicated.
Yes, that's what I'm good at.
You're gonna annoy me right now because I'm getting annoyed already.
So. Oh, it's too late for that. You were like that when I walked in the door. So yeah, that's just So I'll let you continue along with that. Hey, I did find Blossom Dearie. I was just looking at some information on Blossom Dearie. It's interesting that she, in fact, she was alive until 1959. I'm sorry, that's not correct. She was recorded in 1959 singing songs like you just heard. So that was kind of cool. And
she's was a standard piano player, if we thought pianist, lounge singer, kind of, although she's not smarmy like the lounge singers that
no,
you and
I think the classic lounge singer category you're putting her in isn't fair. That was just such a nice mellow. If I've had a long day and I am in some strange city and I'm staying in a hotel and I want to go down and relax and have something to eat and a drink perhaps at the end of a long day, that's the kind of music I want to hear. It's just, very nice, relaxing, that, and you're...
Yes, yeah.
That's
it's a different even than a piano bar. Do you enjoy piano bars per se? I guess they're not just gay culture, but because Don't Tell Mom in New York City, or where you've got a big piano and people sitting around it. Maybe at resorts they do this kind of thing, or on cruise ships.
Well, I don't know if a piano bar. Maybe you and I have different views of a piano bar, because is a piano bar just a bar that happens to have a grand piano at the somewhere in the room, and there's a guy sitting there and just tinkling away at nice mellow music, or
no.
Is a piano bar like you just described, with everybody's gathered around the bar and everybody's doing a sing-along?
This is so. For instance, you take a table and you make it in the shape of a what's that? A piano, a grand piano. Okay.
Yeah.
And that becomes the place where you bring your drink and you put your drink down on the bar, and then the pianist is sitting there and he says, what do we want to sing? And then we all sing What I Did for Love, or some song that everybody, the best of times is now. It's a piano bar kind of thing where you're all singing together. It's a sing-along. Sing-along place.
Okay.
Have you been to one ever?
No.
Oh, they're great fun. They're all over the. I mean, the resorts. If you look for a piano bar, especially maybe in Las Vegas or something, you can be there all night long, nursing your drink, talking to the people. There used to be a place in New York City called Ted Hook's Backstage, and we used to go there a lot while I was in. When we go to New York City when I was in college, we go to Ted Hook's Backstage because you would always see famous people in there. And it just turns out that James was the head maitre d', or that's redundant, the maitre d' at Ted Hook's Backstage. It was on 46th Street. It was the place to be. Ted Hook was the Tallulah Bankhead's assistant. And he, with the money that he, I guess, inherited or something.
There's really somebody named Tallulah?
Tallulah Bankhead. You never heard of Tallulah Bankhead?
Every time I've ever heard the name Tallulah, it's a character in some schmarmy thing.
Oh, Tallulah Bankhead was very prominent in the 1920s. Maybe the Algonquin Hotel Circle. Famous. She's a famous wit actress. You could see her in some of those classic old movies. She was from the South, and she really, if you read her biography, I mean, like, she's very, very funny. One of the famous stories that is told about Tallulah, it goes along with that toilet reference we had earlier. She went to the ladies' room, and she was sitting in the stall, and there was somebody in the next stall, was a woman in the next stall. And the woman in the next stall reported that she said, "Are you Tallulah Bankhead?" And she said, "Yes, darling, I am." She had this really low voice.
See, that's the other thing. If your name Tallulah,
and then all of a sudden
she
said, "Please don't bother me. I'm right here. I'm doing my business." "Oh, excuse me, ma'am. There seems to be no toilet paper here. Do you have change for 20? There seems to be no toilet paper. Do you have change for a 20?
That was a punchline. That was a punchline.
That was the punchline. You didn't get that.
No, I didn't get that.
She needed more toilet paper. And so she said to the woman next, "Never mind."
By the time you get to the fourth explanation, it's no longer a punchline.
No. But Tallulah Bankhead, at any rate, was a great person. Now, where did we get to? Oh, Tallulah Bankhead. All right.
How did we get there from here?
We are at the piano bar in New York City. And, here's another. I just thought of another Tallulah Bankhead story. It's not going to be funny, but I'll tell you anyway. Did somebody expel gas in this room? Someone said to her. She said, yes, do you think I always smell this way? That's Tallulah Bank at her best. Maybe at her worst. Apparently, you are not going to run out and watch Tallulah Bankhead movies after I've given you all of these.
I am now.
You are? Okay.
That's the new binge watching plan.
So let me go back to the piano bar in New York City. The piano bar in New York City, Red Hook's backstage, Liza Minnelli, all these people would come in, and Richard Burton and Liz Taylor, and they would go in and they close the restaurant, okay? And they would stay on and sing with our friend Steve Ross. And so the restaurant would close at 2 o'clock, and then everybody that was there would be allowed to stay when they partied afterward. And it was a place that you really saw. It's where I was at the bar once, and Robert Reed, do you remember who Robert Reed was?
Yes, Robert Reed was often on television.
Yes, and he was on a very famous show. Do you know what show he was on?
I want to say Father Knows Best? No.
No,
later than that. Much later than that.
Yes, no.
Brady Bunch.
He was on the Brady Bunch. He's Florence Henderson's husband on the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Now you're bringing them in right, Peter. It's got
to boost the crap out of them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, how's the sound going?
Well, you're lower than before. I got to really get over to your house and hook you up with a real microphone. Because apparently the day by day your iPad is different or something. I don't know if the sound levels are different.
Well, here's something and maybe it is Bob's end. Bob, do you know how to adjust the microphone volume on your end? We're going to get people that know how to do this are going to tune this out very quickly.
Why don't we play a tune? Yeah, why don't we play a couple of tunes and try and check this out?
Okay. You're on your laptop, right, Bob?
Yes, I'm on my laptop.
Yeah, Pete's going to work with you off air on this.
Okay, maybe I'll change my laptop to another laptop if I can.
No.
That won't work?
No, I'll send you something so I can take control of your computer and fix it from here.
Oh, all right, okay. Gotcha. So, hey, what are we going to play here?
I don't know, Bob, this is your show.
That's true. Let me look and see what I've got on the docket. Oh, okay. This is let us play. This is a coronavirus parody of. It's called One More Day. If you remember the song from the Miserable musical, this is One More Day rewritten for the coronavirus.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's really funny. You ought to hear this. It's been created by a guy named Matt and Emily, his wife, Emily Woolover, pulling the wool over, or Woolever, rather. And you go online, you put in One More Day coronavirus parody and get this on YouTube. You're going to like this a lot. Here we go.
One day more, another day, another destiny, this never-ending road of quarantine. These people have coronavirus, leaders trying to inspire us. One day I did not leave the house today. I will not leave the house tomorrow. One day more, I will not leave my house till May. Do you have TV I could borrow? One more day on my phone. Another day together. One more day of posts and sharing. Life I might have known. I swear I miss you too. But I cannot go on without. Freedom.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value. Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology. One of our underwriters here at WSKB
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And this is J. Luca, and while it's Tuesday, Bob and Peter...
I'm losing my mind is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was going to say Bob and Peter working on technical difficulties behind the scenes. This is when you'd normally see that little screen pop up on your television that goes, please stand by. We're having technical difficulties.
Unfortunately, we can't stand by because we're live.
Well, no. They used to do that on live television.
I can't even do a remote session with Bob.
Oh. Well, I think...
Like, I'm trying to do a remote session to fix his computer, but I can't even do that.
You know what we can do is pop another song, and I think we skipped a break anyway, so we skipped 2 breaks. So there should be no reason. We're coming up on top, at the top of the hour here, and you have to set us up so Janine can dial in as well. So
she'll probably be fine. It's just Bob.
What about Bob? Isn't that a movie? That was a movie. What about Bob?
Bob, I sent a remote invite to your computer, so try it on your email. For Christ's sake.
So while they're working on that, remember, we're live, so be careful what you say on the air.
I said crepes.
Okay. So why don't you put another song or 2 on, and we'll get to the top of the hour. And,
what song do you want me to put on, Jay? You're running the show. I don't even know where we are.
It's my choice? Cool.
Yeah, I don't even know where we are at this point, so.
Something mellow from James Taylor. Anything James Taylor.
Is Bob going to approve of this?
Yes, of course.
He doesn't know what's going on. He can't even see.
He likes Livingston Taylor, which is James Taylor's brother. We had Livingston Taylor on the green some years ago, which was kind of cool. So now we just got to get James on the green, but that's a little harder. So, yeah, find something James Taylor, and then we'll get back to our program. Hold on.
I'm telling Bob to hold on.
Okay. Hold on, Bob.
In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can you see the sunshine? Can you just feel the moonshine? Maybe it's like a friend of mine to hit me from behind. Yes, I'm going to Carolina in the mind. Counting the seas, the silver sun, best on the way, watch it shine. Watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing now. Why did I on the Carolina in my mind? Ain't no doubt in no one's mind, but the finest thing around.
dark side of the moon. And it seems like it goes on like this forever. You must forgive me if I'm up and gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine? Hit me from behind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina. In my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. I'm gone. Say nice things about me, 'cause I'm gone. South of the world, you have to carry on without me. I'm
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Underwriting for Community Radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Well, good morning, everyone. Oh boy, now I hear an echo. And
yeah, this is why you don't do two audio sources at once, Jay.
Well, you do 3 or 4.
Smart audio guy you are.
Well, I don't do Zoom.
That's why you should log out of Zoom.
What?
Because you're on Zoom twice.
That's if I put it up here and there. Stop! Everybody's all.
You're on Zoom twice. Oh, good Lord! I quit. That's it. I'll be back at 8:00. You guys have fun.
Okay. Now, what's weird is I've logged out of Zoom and I'm still echoing.
That's because you haven't dropped yet.
Oh, we'll kill it. All right. I hate Zoom.
Why don't you just mute yourself, Jay?
I can't. All right, we'll get back to that in a minute.
I'll mute you.
See if...
I muted you.
Okay, yet I'm still on.
Hey, Bob. You're on your phone. Bob, call in the phone line. I'm going to mute myself. Hold on. This is ridiculous.
So, hi, Janine. How are you?
Hey, Jay.
So, how's things? How are things in the travel business? Is that a bad question to ask right now?
It's challenging for sure, but you know what? It's all perspective.
Are people looking?
Travel, so people will be traveling.
Again, I'm sure they're researching, right? What
right.
A year from now, I want to go somewhere, and what do I need to do to get there? What's happening with the airlines right now? Are there? If I need to go from point A to point B, can I?
Most likely. So it's. I don't mean to be vague, but it's everything is so in flux right now, and I think the challenge you might find is actually finding a flight because they've decreased capacity. So if you notice, we were out for a walk the other day, and a plane went over, and we both said, well, usually it's constant, but they've just decreased the amount of inventory and the number of flights. So that might be challenging for a little while. So whereas, some routes, they may have flown every single day, but now might be once a week or just a few times a week. So, but that will change. Right now some flights are flying with only 10 people. So that is not. That can't be.
Can't be profitable, right? Yeah, it's not sustainable, as they say. Well, if I needed, whether it was business, pleasure, or whatever, if I needed to get to Chicago, for instance, what's the best way to do that? Should I go to the airline's website? Should I go to something like hotels.com that does flights? What's the best way to do it now?
Best way to do, if you want to just search, I don't buy anything from an online supplier. There have been just story after story of, I don't want to name anyone in particular, but you all know the ones that I'm talking about, or the different brands.
There are many brands,
you put your place and it shows 100 different options.
Right.
People whose trips were canceled, and they literally shut off the phones. People calling and wanting to change any piece of the trip and not being able to get through because it was such a crush. They just turned off the phones. So that's what you're dealing with. I know you're getting a low price, but that's the service.
There's a reason why you get a low price.
Right, exactly. So if you want to search, go to like a skyscanner.com or a kayak and look at what flight, or even Google Flights. You can see every flight in the sky by going to Google Flights and setting that up. And then you'll know every route, everything, and then go directly to the airline right now. Do not try to get the cheapest flight. I mean, flights are cheap anyway, but in terms of being protected if a flight is canceled or you need to change it, I really recommend going directly to the airlines right now. I always recommend that because it really, as a consumer, it just protects you and gives you more flexibility. And, I always believe in going direct anyway.
Now, just
Jay, we have Bob back on the phone.
Oh,
yeah, hi, I'm on the phone now, everybody. Hi. Janine, hi, welcome. I'm glad I'm back. I'm a little off, but I'm back. Thank you, Peter.
I need to come to your house now, Bob, to fix your computer.
Yes, exactly right. We'll let you in for this.
Thank you.
But I'll give you a beer and dinner if I can. Hey, so Janine, the frequent flyer miles and all of that stuff that we have that might be canceled because of this, what happens with frequent flyer miles under a situation like this? Have they extended them at all, do you know?
Yes, they have. Most companies have. And really, I mean, the bottom line, what you need to do is call direct and ask. But a lot of the big guys like Hilton and American Airlines, they're all relaxing the rules and extending them through the year. Usually you have to use your card or fly within a certain amount of time for them to still be good. But really, everything right now is relaxed in terms of cancellations and rebooking. And bottom line, even if the policy, you read somewhere that the policy is one thing, call. Because it is really, it is a consumer's market right now because of low demand. So might as well.
Yeah, sure.
But for sure, they have extended it and allowing you to use different things to get points and to keep your status. So they're being flexible, which is really rare.
Yeah, I wondered about like if I book a trip and it doesn't happen if I book it through the airlines, then I'm not going to have a problem. But if I, as Jay says, if I'm booking through some place that I don't know, for instance, there's a thing called Scott's Cheap Flights. Geez, I've never heard of that. Have you?
No, I
No, there's a lot of them out there, and I would be wary, especially if you've never heard it. We see the ads on televisions all the time for those things, and and I'd like to go there, and like you say, it's a good reference, Janine. It's okay. Give me a ballpark. What should I expect to spend? At least that way I know. If I want to go from here to L.A., I go online and I search. Now, what's interesting is, especially with hotels, I'll see the whole list of hotels. Here I can get it through Expedia or Hotels.com or what's the one William Shatner does? Priceline. All of those things. And I'll see the price difference being like $10 or $20 between all of them. And people still will go for the lowest price to save $10 on a hotel room, not realizing what you're giving up. On the other hand, you can call, and Hilton does this, I know. You call Hilton and go, hey, this is where the best thing I saw online, and I'm a Hilton Club member or whatever it is. What can you do for me? Oh, they want you to book it through them.
Right. And it's not always apples to apples. So yes, you save $20, but what if the little more expensive price includes breakfast or a lot of different perks? I mean, maybe you don't want that, but a week of breakfast in a big city is going to cost you more than $20 a day.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of $100. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes.
And also,
and there's something about
and there's a lot of different things to look at when you're looking at that. Read the fine print, people. That's all I have to say. Read the fine print.
You got it right there. Take the time to read the fine print. I think you're exactly right. So,
what are travel experts saying about life after COVID-19 for the airlines and for travel? Is it going to be really hot?
I mean, everybody's saying different things. So if you're asking me, Janine Queen, I will tell you,
sure.
We don't have a crystal ball, so of course we don't know when borders will open again. I do believe there'll be a lot of people will be nervous for a little bit, but people love to travel, so I think there'll be a pent-up demand. But also, I think at first it'll be closer to home, maybe more driving vacations, domestic in the United States. I mean, there are so many amazing places to see in the United States, so many places you could drive to from the East Coast. So I think there'll be a lot of that, but of course there'll always be people who want to jump on a plane and go somewhere. It will just depend on will the border on the other side be open, and then what happens when you come home? Will you have to be quarantined? I mean, who knows? So those will be things that will factor into when people travel going forward.
Sure.
And I think people have to be aware of that. So say that you do want to go to Ireland, for example. You need to look at it from both ends. Like Ireland may let you in, but what happens when you come back to the U.S.? So it's important to factor all those things in when you're making plans. And to be honest, I always go back to working with a travel advisor, but we know all that stuff. We are really, our ears are to the ground. So it's helpful, especially in circumstances like this, to work with somebody who has their pulse on, their finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Sure. So you would be saying that I come back to America, and then they would say you've been in Italy, let's just say, and therefore we need you to stay in place. We're not going to let you go home. You're going to go to a quarantine place for another 2 weeks until we're sure that you're virus free.
Perhaps.
Because you may have caught it.
Perhaps. Exactly. We don't know. It could be, again, that's why I think things are going to open slowly, because of course no one wants a repeat. Everyone wants to keep it controlled. So especially when you have countries like, for example, Taiwan, there is not one case in Taiwan because they closed the borders immediately. They closed the borders immediately, quarantine everybody coming in. So they are completely free of COVID. So I think as it starts to clear up, people are going to be cautious. But I think, by the end of 2020, things will be getting back to normal for sure. I do think that the travel is going to open this summer. I mean, of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think traveling this summer.
Well, what you said before is it's going to be when people are comfortable with it. People are going to it's going to be the travelers that make the decision. It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be your local, politicians. People are going to travel when they are comfortable. That's my gut feel. If you ask JPEG Luca, that's what I think. But it's the same thing with businesses, because I'm looking closely at businesses for my real job. How do I gear up once that happens again? Because that's, my job is supporting those businesses.
Yeah, and as a senior citizen, I heard something on TV yesterday. I think it was one of the governors, the wise governors, who are taking care of their states in the way that aren't putting people at risk. And what they said was there are three things that we need to consider when we're making any kind of decision about our lives during this sort of flux period during Corona. Your need, number one. Do you really need this? And if you really need this, what is the risk? And then how are you going to be safe? So I guess the question would be, for me as a senior, do I really need to go on this trip right now? And if I really need to, what do I need to do? What's the risk involved? And then how can I be as safe as possible? And that question about the need is I think for all of us, regardless of what we're doing from day to day, do I really need to go to this store? Do I really need to do this? And base it on my need rather than anyone else's need. Now, maybe you're altruistic and you want the
hey, Bob.
What's the word?
Hey, yeah, I really need to get away now. I just want to run away from this place screaming. Is that okay? Can I take a trip?
Do you? Well, I would say you want to run away from this place.
Yes, screaming.
Okay. And what? As a therapist, I would say, maybe you don't want to go with this attitude, because by the time you get there, you're not going to enjoy the trip.
That's like
that could be.
I clearly remember this. I brought my, and this is the classic father going on vacation with the family. I have 2 young kids. I have my wife and me at Disney. And I am not happy because the kids are crying. They want to do this. They want to do that. And the dad is going, we just spent this much money. You will have a good time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The forcing. Yeah, yeah. It's really hard.
I found myself sliding into that. I'm going, what am I doing? This is a happy place.
It's the vacation movies.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, Janine, how do you counsel somebody like Peter and or me? Wanting the travel industry to come back with a force, and I think it will. I think we all want to go on a trip, but we also want to say, geez, can I afford it right now, or can my health afford it right now? If I'm healthy and I haven't been jeopardized, if I had been ill recently, I certainly don't want to go until my immune system is. What do you say? How do you counsel?
I think, of course, everyone has to look at it individually and decide. And I do think older folks are going to have to take that into consideration for a little bit, until we have a vaccine and until things are settled a little bit. Because, of course, especially some types of travel, when you're in close quarters, if you're on a tour or you're on a cruise. Even flights, there's more exposure. There's more likelihood of being exposed to something. But you do see, people. And it's strange for us because in the U.S. we're not used to wearing masks. But of course in Asia they wear masks all the time. And I think that's going to be that's sort of the new. I know everyone says the new norm. But for a little bit, you see people wearing masks and more concerned with cleaning the area if you have to fly. And I've seen the extremes. I've seen pictures of people with gas masks on, and I'm not a doctor, but I don't know. I don't think that will be the new fashion for traveling. But you just have to be cautious and wash your hands and and just look at each situation as it comes.
No, it's going to be the new status symbol. It's now having a mask on is now kind of, you're not doing it to
Status
protect
symbol?
yourself. Yeah, I'll get there in a minute. So just roll with me on this.
Okay.
So, it's going to be, everybody's got the mask on because that's now, it's not for me. It's for the person in front of me that I'm going to sneeze on or cough on and breathe on. Right? So you've got to have, and I've got my bandana with me. You've got
The
to
Frito
have,
Bandito.
yeah. So everyone's going to have their own style. And now there's going to be designer masks. You watch. It's going to come out of L.A. It's going to people in New York. People are going to have their designer masks.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Gucci mask. I see this coming. Yeah, I do.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't even have to be out of. My friend owns a manufacturing company in Fall River, and she is making masks. And she sent me and my family super fun masks, like with the Patriots, and so it's already starting that people are getting.
Send me the website because I need some. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's going to be where we go now. People are going to. It's cool to wear a mask. There's going to be kids masks. There's going to be and like the Darth Vader mask that Peter had. People are going to have fun with this, and I think that's the right way to go because that is probably the simplest way to do this. Versus a month ago. And myself included, it was weird to go out with a mask on. Not anymore.
Oh, I remember, making in New York City, we would always make comments about those people, and there were the smart ones from Asia who were wearing masks all of the time in their tourism things. And we'd always talk, they'd have their cameras and their masks on. And we would sort of, that was a way to get a laugh, and it's a really cheap laugh in a sense. And it's amazing to me. I think that we're getting there. That they are becoming more prevalent. And quite honestly, don't you want to wear something that makes you look nice?
Or something that's fun. Add a little levity to it because it's a very serious situation. So not to make
gosh.
Walking around with a Patriots mask on, but at least it's something. Because I think that it's really easy to fall into really gloom and doom, and again, it's very serious, and people are working very hard to help us and make sure this is sorted. But I think just personally, we all need a little levity just to kind of get through.
You're not going to be able to do this without a sense of humor. We're not going to make it to the other end of this without a sense of humor. We were talking this morning about if you wake up every morning and you never get out of your pajamas and and you're moping around the house and looking for something else to binge watch before you go to bed, and as my wife keeps saying every time she walks up behind me in the kitchen, you're not hungry, you're bored. Get away from the refrigerator. So it's get out, get dressed up. Go out on the town. You don't have to do anything but go walking down the road. Go for a walk with your spouse and dress up to do it. People are going to look out and go, "Hey, look." And they're going to put put a smile on their face, and you're going to feel better about it. Watch.
So I'm wondering then, in this situation, you've probably had lots of Zoom meetings, Janine, from where you are working. In your work capacity, am I right? In the last week or two?
Yes, I've been on Zoom more than I've probably been in the real world. So
okay.
Yes, it's wild.
Yeah.
And Facebook Lives too. I've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives with my colleagues.
Oh, have you?
And I can talk about this later if you're interested. But we're doing a show on Thursdays that's all questions. Like if anyone has any questions they want to know about traveling now, later, next year.
Ooh, what a great idea!
And on Friday afternoons, we're doing a fun happy hour storytelling, and we're having people come on just to tell funny, exciting travel stories, just with a glass of wine at 6 o'clock at night. So it's been fun, and it keeps us, energetically moving forward.
And anybody can attend that?
Yeah. So on my Story Adventures Facebook page on Thursdays at 2 o'clock, that's the travel. We're calling it Total Travel Thursdays. So any question you have, we're happy to answer about anything. And we're talking about destinations and when the world opens again, where are good places to go in the United States. And then on Friday at 6 o'clock, we're doing the storytelling happy hour. We're having people from all over the world come on and just tell us, because everybody has that one story they love to tell about the crazy bus ride or this or that. So it's just a fun way
Tell us again where people need to go to get there.
Sure, it's it's Storied Adventures Facebook page. If you just go to Facebook, go Storied Adventures, you'll find us. And then exactly at 2 o'clock on Thursday and exactly at 6 o'clock on Friday, we'll go live. So all you have to do is to be at the Facebook page, and then we'll appear before you.
This sounds easy enough. Better than trying to travel right now. Hey, we're going to take a break, Bob. We're going to do something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I would love. Why don't we do this? Why don't we play this song from the Wisconsin music director? Actually, do you know who Ken and Mitzi Welch are by chance? Either anybody on the line?
Got me on
Kenny?
that one.
No.
Kenny and Mitzi Welch used to write the music for the Honeymooner show and the Carol Burnett show. And believe it or not, now they have a daughter whose name is Jillian Welch. And she is, I would say a country star, folk singer-songwriter. And this past year she had a big hit, in a sense, because she wrote for that Buster Scruggs movie. Did you see that? What was it? The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's on television, and it's very funny. Have you not known that? Do you guys know that song?
No.
You don't know Buster Scruggs. Well, you'll have a great time. It's called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's a Joel and Ethan Coen movie, the guys that did Raising Arizona. At any rate, she wrote When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings, and it was Oscar nominated. At any rate, so...
What song are you actually playing, Bob?
All right, I am going to be playing the song that is
Just
by
give me the
Jillian
time.
Welch. Jillian Welch, I want to sing that rock and roll.
Okay.
And it's really nice song.
I want to sing that rock and roll. I want to electrify my soul. 'Cause everybody been making a shout so big and loud, been drowning me out. I want to sing that rock and roll. I want to reach that glory land. I want to shake my Savior's hand, and I want to sing that rock and roll. I want to electrify my soul. 'Cause everybody been making a shout so big and loud, been drowning me out. I want to sing that rock and roll. I've been a-traveling near and far, but I won't lay down my old guitar, and I want to sing that rock and roll. I want to electrify my soul. 'Cause everybody been making a shout so big and loud, been drowning me out. I want to sing that rock and roll. Everybody been making a shout, it's so big and loud, been drowning me out. I wanna sing that rock and roll. I wanna sing that rock and roll.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is April 28th, 2020 and counting, and I'm here with the fantastic Peter Coles, Kitten of the Key to Airways, Aristocat. Yeah, and got my trust. Oh, he's going crazy today. Yeah, I'm thinking, oh my God.
See, Bob, you have me chasing.
It finally happened. We fell apart on the radio.
No, you have me chasing ghosts that aren't there. See, the only ghost is your laptop is dying. And so I'm chasing ghosts all over the place because we just did a rewire, and I really don't need to do that because everything else seems to be working okay.
See, Janine came in just fine.
Yeah.
She has
so
no
it's
problems. She looks fabulous, and she sounds great.
Yeah, but she's not. I don't see her on program.
I just have to say, I am like an expert in Zoom.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Have you got Zoom fatigue? Yeah. Janine, have you got Zoom fatigue at all?
Well, you know what's funny? I attended a virtual retreat last week, 3 days. It was supposed to be in Cancun, but of course we were home, and that was a lot. That was 3 days, and it was about 5 hours a day. On Zoom. So yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's nice to connect with people, but it is a long time to stare at your computer.
Sure looks fantastic.
Oh gosh, and I think that sitting there, I don't know, someplace in the middle of this week, I got this thing like I am a hunkered hermit. I don't necessarily want to talk to anybody. I just want to read my book and go, and it is so strange. I really feel, I mean, like I think that some depression came in the middle of the week, and I'm finally kicking it. But one of those things was, oh God, do I have to go on a Zoom call? Do I have to do I have to be up on the and follow 15 screens?
It is hard, but you do have to make sure that you care for yourself too, and instead of going on Zoom, maybe just call one friend because it's easy to get down. So I think that's why communication is so important. But there's a fun way. So have you ever heard of Snapchat, Bob?
Of course, sure.
Yeah. So they have a thing called Snap Camera that they must have just, I don't know, they just developed it, but
yeah, it's fairly new.
Funny hats on and things when you're on your Zoom call, or turn yourself into a potato. It's silly, but it's pure comedy. I mean, you show up at the Zoom call as a pickle, and everyone's like, that's great. So it's the little things that are keeping us entertained these days.
Wait a minute, I can't even get Bob to click on a link in a messenger thing to get on remote things. So I don't think he'll be able to understand Snapcam. I think that's just way beyond his comprehension level.
I was trying to do that for something my wife was on. Yeah, I was trying to join them on some such thing, and I was trying to do that. And I won't tell you what ended up on the screen, but once it was there, I couldn't get rid of it. It was quite embarrassing.
Oh my God! Yeah, I got a Zoom breakfast club meeting coming up on Saturday. James goes to Leo's for breakfast, and there's a whole group that go, and I usually sleep in. I always sleep in. Let's put it that way. And so they're having a Zoom club breakfast club, and on Saturday morning, and while I love the thought of seeing my friends, I need convincing. And I think, Peter, maybe next week I'll take the break and I'll come into the studio, just because I don't want you to get agita, and I think it's much better.
Tell you what, if it makes you feel any better, you can come into the studio and I'll sit over on the other side of the window with my phone and do Zoom and show you how it works.
Oh,
that was funny. That was supposed to be funny, Bob. So, okay, but seriously, if you want to come in, we'll put you at the table here all alone, and I'll go in the other room. We have the technology. We can do this.
Sure.
We can rebuild him, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We can do a $6 million Bob.
That's a $6 million man reference for anyone out there.
Yeah, $6 million Bob.
Oh yeah, no, it's exactly right. It is so strange, and you would think that, I don't know if other people are going through this or not. Is that I've gotten on a schedule. I do my things. I see my opera every night. I read and I write and I'm creative, but there is something missing, and I can't figure it out what it's missing. Other than the fact, is it freedom? It's not toilet paper. I've got plenty of toilet paper.
I think it's freedom. I think it's we're so used to being able to just hop in our car and do what we want to do. And I think that takes a toll, for sure.
Yeah.
But I always think in perspective, like I have good friends who are doctors, and it is tough. And all of the healthcare professionals that we know, thank you for all of your work. But so I just keep reminding my kids, especially, it's perspective. Like, we are fine. Everything is fine, and we could be struggling in a lot of different ways, or out there on the front lines. Like, even my brother-in-law works for the U.S. Postal Service, and my sister is an IT professional for the state of Massachusetts, and they both still are working, like going into Boston every day. So think of that some people are still exposing themselves, and just really, I feel a lot of gratitude for the people who are still in the world.
Yeah, I do. I get that gratitude stuff, and I've trying to cut down on my news intake. I think that's a lot of my angst. But at the same time, like a moth to a flame, I'm drawn right in, and then I get really angry, and then I start to see people who are not following the rules, or I'm furious at Tennessee. They're spiking and they're opening up their stores and stuff, and I get it, but I'm just so worried. I don't know, and maybe it's about mortality as much as anything, but it's not the happiest place I want to be. And listen to me, I'm always really pretty up, and I continue to be up most of the time, but boy, lately this week it's been tougher for me. I gotta say,
Yeah. I think maybe not spending so much time on the news would be helpful. Just I read enough so I know what's going on, but I don't, because it's just the drumbeat, the constant drumbeat, and it's the same stuff over and over again. So I don't think it's good for anyone's emotional well-being to watch the news all the time.
Yeah. Well, when I tune into Chris Cuomo, this is so sad. Not Chris Cuomo. It's his brother, Andrew. Yeah. He somehow or other soothes me. I mean, he's got this perspective at the end of his press conferences that it's kind of like soothes me. I want to go out hiking with him. I want him to hug me and tell me that.
You mean Mario Cuomo? Yeah. Chris Cuomo, the CNN guy, or Mario, the.
No, the brother of the son of Mario. Yes, the governor of New York. Yeah, that's what I need. That's more what I need. But at any rate. Hey, when we get back, why don't we play a song and come back and think about your best memory of travel and your worst memory. Actually, the worst memory would probably be better. I've got a couple of worst memories of my travel days, and best memory as well.
I got one that might be upcoming because I might not be able to go.
Oh, no. Okay, so why don't we play that great song, April in Paris, April in Portugal. Let's do April. There are a lot of songs about April around the world. April in Portugal. This is the Louis Armstrong version back in 1953. It's a great song. There it is.
Found a dream in Portugal with you. When we discovered romance like we never knew. My head is in the clouds, my heart went crazy too. And madly I said, I love you. Too soon I heard you say, this dream is for dead. Oh, that's Portugal, love and April. And when the showers fell, those tears I know so well, they told me it was spring fooling me. Yes, I found an April dream in Portugal with you. When we discovered romance like we never knew, and morning brought the rain, and now my dreams through. But still that thought says I, yes, I love you. Portugal too.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is April 28th, 2020 and counting. We're here with Janine Queenan from StoriedAdventures.com with the Kitten of the Keys, Meow, Pete
Meow.
Coles, Yeah.
I'm calming down, Bob. I've done my meditation now, and I'm becoming calm again.
Meditation works. It's good.
It did, yeah. I need
Yeah.
I need that off time during the break. So, Bob, my worst travel story could be upcoming.
Okay, tell it.
So I here's the backstory. The backstory was the last time humans were launched into space from this country, I was standing behind the countdown clock at NASA, and I watched the shuttle go up. Humans will be launching again from this country for the first time since 2011 on May 27th. And right now the state of Florida is effectively closed. So I have a plane ticket, I have a hotel reservation, I have a car reservation. Our good friend Ken Stopsky, who also wants to join me on this endeavor, says our hotel will not let us in if we do not have press credentials or some official travel document saying we should be there. So, so I have a real problem with that because I got to get tested because I believe I've already had COVID. But beyond that, I really need. This is something I need to do for me. Like this is something to complete a circle for me. And now this insanity is just saying you can't go anywhere.
So are they going to have it?
Oh yeah, they're still launching. Yes, the space station. The astronauts have been quarantined during their training and everything. The space station, the schedule needs to go on. They're still conducting launches. That's a high priority thing.
And Janine, would you recommend that Peter call the airline right now?
The airlines are still only dealing with immediate flights, like 48, 72 hours. It's hard to get an answer for something that's a month away.
Right. My itinerary's changed 3 times because they're scaling back their flights. So that's not a problem with the airline. I think it's the hotel that if I get there, I'll have no place to stay.
Right. It might not be open. You're just going to have to keep an eye on it.
I'm hoping it opens up by midway.
You could maybe rent a place, whether or not Airbnb is reopened or VRBO or something like that. That might be an option too if people are renting their places.
Oh, rent
but
like
it's hard to know whether or not hotels will be open. I know you said if you need press credentials, but can't you get one for the radio station?
Well, I've applied for one, but NASA's limiting that as well. So that's the other problem. We don't know if we're going to get one. Ken and I applied, and generally we don't get denied for those things. But with all the craziness going on, right. They're going to limit everything. And I'm like, are you serious? You have a lawn that's huge. You can fit 1,000 people in there, and usually you only have 100 people show up for these things. And now everybody and their brother wants to be part of this. So the little guys at us that show up for all these launches and actually support NASA are getting squeezed out. I got a real problem with that too, but that's just my soapbox.
Well, there's still time though, Pete.
I know, and that's the thing.
A month is a long time in this COVID world.
Well, and it looks like Florida might open sooner rather than later because their main economy is tourism, and they're getting wiped clean. I noticed they were one of the last to close because they wanted to get spring break in before this mess. And now they're starting to open back up again. So, yeah, it's going to be tough.
I really think you have a good chance because Florida seems to be, going faster than the majority of us or throughout the country. So I think that you're going to be able to go to Florida. Whether the hotel is going to be able to be accommodating is the question here.
I guess I'll buy a tent because I rented a pickup.
Right.
Or you not a tent. One of those things on wheels. What do you call them? RV? I'd love to see you. Yeah, and I think you ought to videotape that whole trip between the two of you, Kenny and you, going down in an RV to Florida together.
That would be actually funny, Bob.
It really would be funny. It would be sort of like Nicole Richie and what was that? Paris Hilton. Remember they had a TV series.
You're really comparing me and Ken to Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton? Seriously, Bob?
That's exactly right. I am.
All right, I need to meditate again.
Okay. So, Janine, get back to meditate. Janine, what would be your worst travel remembrance.
You know what? I don't. So for me, I always feel like even when things are a little bit of a disaster, I think in the long run, they end up being the best stories, you know? So I just have a lot of funny, weird things that happen. I was on a train in Italy and we were doing an overnight train, and my friend and I thought we had scored our own little cabin. We were in like second class, and all of a sudden this family of 6 walks in, and before I know it, because you push the seats down, like, and they meet in the middle of the the place, so you can like lie out. So we were in this bed, in this giant bed on a train with 6 family members and 2 of us for a whole night. People were like rolling on top of us and all this crazy stuff.
Oh, God.
And at the end, my friend and I, we were like head to foot. So her feet were in my face and my feet were in her face. And we were just laughing and laughing and laughing. And then they get up, and of course they don't think anything about it, but we're, stunned. They get up, we put everything away, and they're like, arrivederci, and then they walk up. It's just stuff like that is so funny. I love stuff like that. It just that human connection. And at the time we were, oh my gosh, it seemed like a disaster, but it's hilarious to think about it now.
Yeah. And how about you, Jay? You got a good one? Oh, he's gone somewhere.
Yeah, Jay's not there.
Jay isn't there. Okay.
He's over at his soundboard with Kenny. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, okay. So let me tell you what mine was. I was in Mexico, and I was there for like 5 days, and I got a job at the public television station here in Springfield. They were going to record it was me and a very well-known woman. We were going to do a pilot for a series of episodes that would be shown on TVs in waiting rooms for people that would inform them about health procedures or something. Somebody was paying us some money for this, at any rate. So I'm in Mexico, and I get this job, and I need to get back to the States. And so I go, I'm in this little town called Puerto Escondido, has one little tiny airport, and this was in the 1980s. And so at any rate, I go to book my flight, and they say the plane that's going to Mexico City is not operating until we get it repaired, and we don't know whether it's going to be repaired tomorrow or the next day. I said, you're repairing the flight? It was on Oaxacanas Airlines or something, a very strange small airline. And I thought, the plane is being fixed? So at any rate, every day I would go in and the plane is still being fixed. And finally, I get to go, and I get, and it's like the day before the episode that I'm supposed to tape. And I get to the airport, the one-horse airport. We get on the plane, we strap in, and we go down the runway, and the plane stops and then turns around again. And then we wait, and then it goes down the runway again and turns around, and then does it one more time, and finally stops, and it says, we're not flying today. And we get off of the plane, and what is dripping from the pilot's thing is all this oil. And they were trying to get us up in the air on this plane. I should have told you that it looked like something that Hitler used during World War II or something, you know. And so at any rate now, so I'm totally strapped to get to Mexico City, where I have a flight. Now I'm on the west coast of Mexico, so I end up renting a car with 3 of the other passengers, 2 women and a man, and we rented a car to drive us through, and we had a driver that would drive us through from this area to Mexico City. Well, the roads between there and the mountains It was an 8-hour trip that ordinarily, if you look at it on a map, it would have probably taken a half hour, but it was an 8-hour trip. It was winding. We were worried. The guy told us that we might have banditos along the way. The people that I was with were all throwing up. I was the only one who didn't throw up. We got to the airport, okay, I finally got there. I got on a plane that came to America, got into New York City on the day of a blizzard, and there was a blizzard happening, and there was no way that any was getting out of New York flying. And finally, so they put us up in a hotel. The morning of my taping of my show happens, and I am going crazy because they booked me on a 5-person plane up the Connecticut River, and I had, and we got to Springfield. I got to the airport. I got to the taping. We taped the show, and we were stranded. I ended up having to get a hotel in downtown Springfield the day of, and that happened over a 3-day period. Unbelievable. The worst possible travel nightmare anyone could have.
But it's a good story, so
it's a great story.
It's a great story. Yeah.
Bob, you definitely win.
Yeah.
You win. You win on the travel disaster.
It's a travel disaster that no one would. I could have been in a plane with a dripping engine over the mountains of Mexico, and I then chose to go. Oh my God! Have you ever been on a flight that had that kind of thing happen?
I have actually, not exactly, but so years and years ago, flew one of those budget airlines that I do not recommend. But we were on the flight, and this is my 30-year-old, now he's 30, but he was probably 10, year-old nephew, was on the flight, and he looks out the window, and he's like, why are there firefighters below the plane? And there were people like head to toe in that silver outfit, the hazmat, whatever, fire stuff.
Uh-huh.
So then we get an announcement, everybody off the plane, we have a small fuel spill. So here's the funny thing, though. There was one fellow who was taking our tickets, checking us in and everything. All of a sudden, we see him run out of the terminal with a big broom, and he is cleaning up the fuel himself, right? So the person who took our tickets, checked us in, everything, cleaning up the fuel, he runs up. Okay, everyone back on the plane. He smelled like jet fuel. It was so strong. And I'm like, if he starts to fly this plane, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh my God.
Because clearly it was a discount budget. And he was doing a lot of different jobs, including cleaning up a hazardous waste site. So that was pretty funny.
Unbelievable. He might have been the pilot for all you know.
I know.
That would have been unbelievable. Hey, Janine, in order to get your stuff going, or if we want to tune in on Thursday, Travel Thursdays.
Yep.
We go
2:00.
Tell us how.
Sure. Just go over to Facebook and look for my Facebook page, business page, which is Storied Adventures. And that's at 2:00 on Thursdays. And then if you want to come and hear some funny travel stories and have a few laughs, come by at 6:00 on Friday afternoon.
Janine, before you go, and Bob may have asked you already, but in all of these Zoom and all of these online virtual things we've been doing, I'm not looking at the people so much as I am at the background. What's the picture behind you?
That is just a bus, a London bus, and it is to Victoria Station, I think.
Excellent.
Piccadilly Circus.
Piccadilly Circus. Okay.
So I've been doing so many travel stuff, so I wanted to have like a travel.
I think that's a great idea.
Behind me, but double-decker bus, and they still have the double-decker buses, although the old ones might be gone now, where you could actually run up and jump on the back and like pull yourself up.
That's a clear liability, I think. Some insurance companies, Lloyd's of London would not be happy with that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Hey, Janine, we're going to see you next month, Storied Adventures, and we look forward to it. Meanwhile, you be safe. I'm going to try and get out of my funk. I'm going to talk to Peter, and we're going to have him over. We're going to look at see what's happening here in the hinterland.
We think. Well, Bob, I think I figured it out. Through engineering. Yeah, no, part of it was you and part of it was here, so we need to work on both ends. We got the here part fixed. Now we got to fix the you part.
Oh God, you're going to fix me? Oh God, that's going to take.
No, that'd take way too long, Bob.
Oh, that's exactly right. I'll call my therapist. Hey, I am going to let us play. I thought this was a good song to end with. It's a quieter song, but it's Aretha Franklin's version of "Try a Little Tenderness." I think everybody needs at this point to find somebody to try a little tenderness to, and let's be tender and gentle to everyone, and find a way to get through it together. And please wear your masks. James calls me, incidentally, the pain in his mask lately. I am the pain in James' mask. So at any rate, with that, I'm going to say see you next week. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry we had such difficulty today, and we'll talk to you, Peter. And everybody, consider volunteering, but more than that, consider making a donation to things like Feeding America or the Community Foundation of Westfield or the Westfield Food Bank. Very important that we help out at this time. And I'll see you around. This is Aretha Franklin, Try a Little Tenderness. Bye, guys.
I may get weary. Women do get weary. Wearing the same shabby dress. But to one who's weary, try a little tenderness. Oh, I may be waiting, just anticipating all of the things I may never possess. But while I'm waiting, try a little tenderness. Now I may be sentimental, but I wanna say that I've had my griefs, oh, and I've had my cares, and just a good word, soft and gentle, makes it easier to bear. Now I might forget it, oh, but don't let me forget it. Love's all my whole happiness. And it's so easy. Try a little, oh, try a little tenderness. Tenderness.
underwriting support for the community